I'm Katie Gillespie. I'm a product manager at Looker on our business intelligence team, and I'm so excited to talk to you today about how we've made it easier than ever to get to insights faster. Specifically, what we're going to cover is how we have these two different ways to make it possible. First, how you curate your Looker environment for new users. Second, how you can empower analysts with custom fields. And then finally, in a demo, we're going to show you how those two experiences make it easier to get to insights faster. First, let's talk about curating that Looker environment. Another way to think about this is that you're setting up guardrails for your users. This is important for three main reasons. First, it's the power of Looker to create this single source of truth so that your users can really trust the data that they're seeing. Second, it's going to be surfacing that relevant data because not everyone has access to nor needs all of the information in your Looker environment. And third, this makes it possible for them to get curious, get excited about what's possible, come back and really stay data-driven and engaged in the data. So specifically, how do we do that? Specifically, you're going to be able to do this by customizing home pages that will be dynamic based on your user group. Setting up different home pages for different users without having to do that manually is going to be really powerful for scaling your Looker environment. Next, we also have made it possible to have boards where you can collect and provide content, not just about Looker's dashboards or looks, but also new explorers or external resources. This is the type of environment that your users can then start to see what is possible. Then finally, we have version-controlled queries in your Explore page so that users can get started quickly. This is a jumping-off point that shows them how to use their measures and dimensions and fields, or just surfaces the right questions. All of these come together to help your users get started and stay curious. The second part of this is empowering your analysts once they land on these quick starts with custom fields. This is a way to build bridges between your model data and the quick questions they have that are ad hoc. Some of the ways that we do this are by having table calculations, where you can now take what are common table calculations and get to them in 2 clicks with no code. We've also made it possible to create custom dimensions like groups or bins that used to be really complicated and nested if statements, making them easier and more user-friendly. And third, turning dimensions into measures. Those quick aggregations that used to be necessary in the model, you can now do on the front end. Now we've made those user interfaces even easier to use. So for those quick calculations, being able to see the names and being able to click in from there. Custom dimensions having their own modal and no-code way of accessing and creating the environments, and filtered measures being brought to the forefront so you can have easier comparisons. All of these things make it possible to support personalization, to help your users answer questions you didn't know they were going to have. Likely, they didn't know they were going to have them either. These ad hoc questions are what help create a data-driven culture because people come back and they have their curiosity piqued. It's really the power of these two things together, curating your Looker environment and then empowering your analysts with custom fields, that makes it possible to get to insights faster. Before we jump into the demo, I do want to make a quick note that while we'll stay pretty high level, this is going to be a walkthrough of that analyst journey in a well-curated environment. If you want to learn more details about how to make this possible at your organization, you can join 2 Handson Labs during this conference. The first one, if you have LookML access or you're interested in learning more, you can check out how to nail users' first Looker experience and learn more about what curating that Looker environment is all about. And if you don't have LookML access, you can check out our Explore specific one, Advanced Ad Hoc Analysis for Tough Data. These 2 hands-on labs are going to make it possible for you to take what we're seeing today and make it a reality at your organization. Okay, let's hop into the demo. We'll start today's demo off from a custom homepage, the Company Pulse board. As I mentioned earlier, you can have the homepage vary based on the user who's logging in. So for example, I have this board for high-level executives, but we could also set other boards in the homepage for department-specific content that might be more detailed or relevant for these users. In this example, we've made one for our finance and our sales ops. Boards can be a useful tool because they provide context and structure to the content. For example, on this board, we have a general description of what they'll be able to find, as well as 3 separate sections. One for our KPI dashboards, another for more operational use cases, and a third for external links. Another helpful aspect of boards is the ability for a user to add or remove what they want to have be on the left side navigation, and also to create an environment that they can share and collaborate with their team. Taking a closer look at this second section of the board, we can see that there is an operational dashboard for an executive who might need to look up a customer before they have a meeting. We've also linked to a data set that could be used for planning or just being more data-driven. And finally, a quick link to our data dictionary, an extension that provides a user-friendly interface to learn about how all the metrics have been defined in the model. Let's jump into the data set, a look or explore, and see how it's been curated to inspire self-service data exploration. Immediately, you'll notice that we have quick starts. These quick starts help new users get started using the Explorer in one click. They're saved queries that are defined in the model, so they're version controlled and will stay up to date with any changes. This is a count of all of our brands by users. What I'll notice straight away is this long tail of not super commonly used brands. It makes it kind of hard to read or really understand what's happening. So I'm going to go ahead and group these orders into the top 5 brands and everyone else. You can see that the way that I'm creating this is by creating a filter. There's lots of ways that you can slice and dice this information. But for today's demo, I'm just going to look at the top 5 brands that I see in the data table. So now I've created 2 groups, the top 5 brands based on the information I have in the data table, and then all other brands. Now that I have those 2 groups, I'm going to remove the more detailed view of the brands from my table. It's interesting to see the aggregated information. This is looking at the number of users. I wonder if we change the number of users to look at total sales, if we'll see the same pattern. Interesting. The data does look really similar as the total sales price being spent by the number of users. I wonder if the difference is going to be in how the information is split across the top 5 brands versus other brands, and if the top 5 brands have more return customers. I'm going to take a look at this as a percent of the column that they're in. What we can see from here is that the top 5 brands make up 32% of the total sales, and it doesn't seem to make a difference if they are repeat orders within the last 30 days or not. I wonder what other information I can use. I'm curious now. I'm going to go ahead and clear out all of this information and start fresh. Interesting. I can check things out by my distribution center. I'll go ahead and get started with the name, and then let's take a look at how many order items they have in inventory. I'm creating a measure from a dimension, all without needing to do any coding or any modeling. I can go into here and edit the name of this field to be inventory orders. I can also make it be a number, add a description if I want to. And if I wanted to think about this instead of having it be by the inventory order amount, but rather I want to look at it by alphabetical order, I can still do that. And add the rank of column. Now I can view the distribution centers in alphabetical order, but still maintain their rank. This feature is even more useful when you have many different dimensions and measures, but you don't want to lose the context of how that impacts their rank. I want to do one more example of some fast analysis. Let's look this time at how much we've sold over time. I can access the quick starts from that lightning bolt, and this is a really interesting starting point. I'm looking at the order items by created month, but if I want to see it more granularly, I can switch that to week. And I probably prefer to view this as a line chart. If I want to try and think about before I can forecast this data, I'm going to fill in the missing dates and then establish what my criteria is for forecasting. In the next 6 weeks with a 95% confidence interval. Looker is going to be generating a forecast model that provides the dotted line of what is possible and what is next. You can see in the table that they have asterisks and a band for the 95% confidence interval. What are the high end and the low end of these predictions? We were able to do a deep dive into the data without needing model access. These are the bridges that we are using to help analysts do ad hoc analysis and discover insights faster. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this has inspired you to curate your Looker environment to set it up for deep data exploration. Good luck!